Did you know that the proper air quality inside your tent or your grow room can actually increase your yield up to 10 to 15, sometimes even 20%, and poor air quality can actually destroy your whole harvest? Hey guys, what's up? It's Chris here from Ambrosia Buds, and in this video today I'm going to talk to you about air quality. I'm going to break this down into three separate parts. First is going to be air flow or air circulation. Second is going to be humidity and temperature, and then third and last, I'm going to talk a little bit about CO2, but I'm going to do a completely different video on CO2 to get into the details of it, because I really don't want to overwhelm new growers right now with too much information, and I kind of want to keep this short and not eat up a lot of your time. So what you have to realize is that when you start growing cannabis indoors, like an intent like this, what you're doing is you're mimicking everything Mother Nature already provides outside. And when it comes to airflow, what you think about outside is the wind blows. Blowing, when the wind blows and you have a breeze, it's not just to cool you off, okay? When that wind's blowing, it's actually delivering and transferring things in the air that you don't see, like pollen, humidity, and it does adjust the temperature. But when you're indoors or in a tent like this, you need to replace everything that Mother Nature has already been providing for millions of years. And the way you do that with airflow is one, oscillating fans. You can get little fans you can clip on the rods that hold this tent up that oscillate, that are really good. And the oscillating fan actually acts like a blender or like a mixer. Imagine like you're baking a cake. It's like stirring up the air so it's always circulating. And also that air, when it makes the plant like shift, it's actually strengthening the plant a little bit. And you kind of want that, because if your buds get really big, they tend to fall, crack branches and stuff like that. But the way you do that is you get one of these. This right here is a Spider Farmer exhaust fan with a carbon filter. This is the carbon filter, this is the fan. The way I have this hooked up is this tube goes into my tent and the air is coming into here and then passing through the carbon filter. And there's an intake hole in the tent I open the bottom one, so it brings the air like this, because this is hooked up there and it's cutting through the thing. And then what the carbon filter does, and the carbon filter is something you're definitely going to want, because the carbon filter eliminates all odor. Believe it or not, guys, one cannabis plant can pretty much make your whole entire house smell like weed if you're not running a carbon filter. So I highly suggest getting a carbon filter. So that's that. And this fan is a 4-inch inlet fan. You can get bigger ones, 6-inch, depending how big of a room you have. And they're all dimmable, just like the lights, so you don't have to run it full blast all the time. So, and what this is doing, it's transferring fresh air in and fresh air out. Now, the other thing you need to look at, and the reason the airflow in this fan is really important, is because it gives you the ability to control your temperature and your humidity. You don't want the temperature too high, and you don't want the humidity too high. If your humidity gets too high, if your relative humidity gets too high, what's going to happen, especially in the flowering stage, those buds get really tight, and what it does is they retain a lot of water. And if you have stagnant air, which means air that's not moving, that has a high humidity level, what's going to happen is that water is going to stay on the plant, and that's going to end up growing mold, and you're going to get bud rot. And you do not want mold, and you do not want bud rot. So the easiest way to avoid that is to have good airflow, air circulation, through an inlet fan like this, an exhaust fan like this, and a circulating fan or an oscillating fan with inside your tent. Now, when it comes to CO2, guys, CO2 is probably the easiest and cheapest way it's the cheapest upgrade you can do to your grow space that's actually going to give you the biggest results. As opposed to the cost of a CO2 system to the cost of a light, phenomenally different. And CO2 is the one thing that you're going to noticeably see an increase, that 10, 15, 20% increase in your overall yield and harvest. I'm not going to get into a lot of detail about CO2. I will say this though, so just to give you a brief idea. The average level parts per million, ppm, of CO2 for the air I'm breathing right now, and the air you're breathing in your house or wherever you're at watching this, your car, is roughly 300 to 400 ppm. A cannabis plant thrives at about, let's say, 1200 to 1500 ppm. Okay, and what that is carbon dioxide is a nutrient, just like the nutrients you put in your soil for a plant. If you want to maximize the potential of your plant and your overall yield and weight of what you end up with, you're going to want to run CO2. You got to think of it as a carburetor on a race car motor. A motor, a gasoline engine needs oxygen in the piston in order to fire the cylinders. If it's not getting the right amount of oxygen, if everything's not harmonized and in balance, you're not getting the full potential, the full horsepower of the motor. Same thing goes with the cannabis plant, guys. So I'm trying to keep these short and sweet for new beginners. I don't want to, like rookie growers, and I don't want to overwhelm you with a lot of information. So, guys, do yourself a favor, subscribe to the channel, ring the notification bell for you get updated for all the new videos I'm going to put out. I'm going to get it into CO2 in the next video, and then I'm going to talk about watering, and then, well, probably soil first, and then watering. And then after that, I'll probably just start giving you guys some tips and tricks and different equipment and stuff like that, and teach you how to actually start growing on a budget. So guys, if you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel. Give me a thumbs up if you like the video. Don't be shy. Comment. Stay green and keep growing. Peace. I'm out.